Good morning, darlings. So we had the eclipse yesterday on the 25th. We had Venus in detriment, conjunct to the moon and the sun, and Mercury at home on the star of harvest, the blue star. This reminds me of a famous film, 1986, Betty Blue. That was the year. So we had Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby in 68, and in 86, as Pluto left Virgo, we had this very famous film, and I'll show you some images. Betty Blue, BB 22, Beatrice Dalle was the ultimate image, and we've got the blue and yellow of Ukraine, just meaning putting at the head of the wheel this Marianne, this last of the triple goddesses, the last chance of female fertility. So again, it's her with an older man, and the film opens, I remember it was just a long sex scene, and she's slightly crazy, and she's everything that they want this Virgo girl to be. So remember, we had in 2019, Amy Winehouse. Aim is it's like Amélie Poulain, it's the soul. The soul. Virgo is the flesh, and opposite Pisces is the spirit. Alcohol, alcohol. So we had, what was she called? Yes, Eliza Pilarsky, like Polensky, who was 29, and she was killed by the dogs on November the 20th, 2019. So November the 20th is 11, and 2 is just like 1111. The armistice was signed. So here you've got the Virgo girl with Sirius. That's Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. And we've now got this one child sex race. So she was tested by 93 dogs. That's 39. And on this day as well, in 2019, we had Momo the Irishman. So 1 month before, Momo the Irishman. Momo the Irishman killed 39 frozen Asians. Lorry. So 39 Chinese migrants found in death trap lorry have travelled 5,000 miles. So there's your last hand that the new Prime Minister showed us, who became the new Prime Minister for the eclipse yesterday. So all this is block. Let's go back and see just the pictures. So here's Momo the Irishman on Eastern Avenue. This is all about the equinox, east-west. We're on that equinox right now. Mainstream had the eclipse in Scorpio, but it is in Virgo. So there's a very famous picture of him with the ring, the Lord of the Rings, the Corona eclipse. It was a ring of fire. And I've got those pictures for you in my old post from 3 years ago. So on October the 24th, 2019, to open Corona, we got Momo, Mowgli, the Jungle Book, and the Year of the Tiger, the Water Tiger, the Merlion, Amit, the enormous crocodile Nile, Horizon, Zion, Mona, La, Lola, Liza, Liz Truss, So Lisa Truss, the Lucis Trust, October the 24th, 2019, to open Corona Momo, the Irishman, Lord of the Rings, killed 39 Asian people. Elsa, Liza, L of Frozen. So we've got Eliza. This is Mona Lisa, the 3 stages. Momo, Lola, the Mona Lisa. It's all about changing the horizon, the east to the west, the east, Asia, the Asian tiger is here. And that's what we're going to be looking at now. We're going to be looking at, so yeah, the rise of Rishi Sunak, and it's the life of Pi, it's the eye of the tiger, it's the Vesica Piscis passage. So we have the eclipse, and 44 days later, D-Day, 4-4, Pluto under the rotating star. This is 4-wheel drive ahead. The girl Lola, who was killed in Paris and put in a plastic box, raped, killed by a 24-year-old Algerian girl. Venus in detriment is the dark side. When she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was Horus, Horizon, Horus. And Mercury, the little child, on Spiker, bringing up the dark side of this Amy Winehouse, of this Amélie Poulain, of this Betty Blue. So mainstream had it in Scorpio, and this is the fertility. This is the killing of Scorpio to bring in this 13th sign, this fertility god who takes the snake, the 3 angles, making the triple goddess into the 3 masculine angles. I always say communism, fascism and communism, the 3 becoming one through the masculine energy, as Pluto is making this trine to this new black moon. And in 44 days, so Uno did a video about 44 days later, so exactly 44 days later, we have got the 11/11, the armistice day. And we're going to have Sun, Venus, and Mercury on the snake of the scale of wisdom, of Mars. And this is rising the masculine, the feminine energy in the masculine. This is Venus. Venus rules Libra. And this is rising that Botticelli Venus with the red hair coming out of the shell and God created woman, the famous Vadim film with Brigitte Bardot, BB, Betty Blue, Black Betty, rising this star, this Lara Croft girl. So infertile. So, and then we're going to have Moon and Mars conjunct, and this is the whole point of the of this ridiculous Armistice 1. So the whole thing, this is about the gateway. I mean, it's just literally telling you we're going through the eye of the tiger. Armistice 1, the first in a series of increasingly complex missions that will enable human exploration to the moon and Mars. So it's about bringing up that masculine energy, and we've got the moon and the Mars conjunct as Mars is on his way backwards over the bullseye, the mosque, the breast of Venus in Taurus. So the mother being made masculine, Instagram, turning her into the energy of the twins by making the free martins. It's a type of disformation in the womb when the twin, the girl twin, takes from the boy twin the hormones and comes out completely masculinized with a womb with breasts exactly like a woman, but infertile and a bully. And in a brave new world, 70% of women will be of this energy. And then on the 12th, the sun is absolutely on the fiery serpent on the pole, and we've got Uranus opposites in Aries with the head of the snake and the tail of the snake here. All those bits shall live. So we don't know when Armistice won, because she keeps getting next launch attempt for Armistice 14 days ago, 18 days ago, 19 days ago. And that image of the orange from the blue and the reds, making that one. Normally, Virgo sits between the Boaz and Jacqueline pillars for this passage of alchemy, and this is their way of making her masculine. Everything is about taking the fertility. We've got the meter 8. The meter 8 was set off as well officially for this eclipse date. So the fairy tale, the two contrasts of British liberty and French liberty, and you see this is the Vesica Piscis when the fairy tale breaks and it becomes one. This is the two sides of the coin. 1792 is the same thing as 1972 when the film Lucifer Rising, Liz Truss rose. So the English are going to have to face this energy. The gangsters are coming in. The individual versus the masses. The greatest danger of all comes from the masses, in whom the effects of the unconscious pile up cumulatively, and the reasonableness of the conscious mind is stifled. Every mass organization is a latent danger, just as much as a heap of dynamite is, if it lets loose effects which no man wants and no man can stop. Jung, the undiscovered self. Well, we've got Neptune at 100% visible, about to enter in February, right here. Neptune about to enter Pisces, where Jupiter is still sitting on that tail. Saturn is on the tail of the fish goats. Saturn and Jupiter working in a sextile. Not quite, because Saturn's going to be, but still that energy, Saturn moving forwards, the peak of the mountain, snow, should melt back into the ocean, so the material government finds the release and finds the very conservative, traditional, old ways, Capricorn government, and finds the spiritual of the oceans of Pisces, is able to cope with these two worlds. Neptune entering here, and Saturn will enter Aquarius for Valentine's Day. Let's just check that. Yep. Exactly Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day is Lupercalia, which is what I've written here. We've done so many videos about it. I've explained that's the name of my village, Lupiac. It's the loop of the zodiac, Lupiac. And this is the story of Romulus and Remus, the twins under the dome of the Luvine, the wolf, becoming animal. That's the twins, Gemini, taking in using the material energies of Taurus, merging Gemini, Taurus, and Aries. For Instagram, the children becoming the wild ones. Taurus is concerned just with greed until they find their true value and worth and their real reason of having possessions. What do you have? You know, what do you use? What wolf do you feed? So the sacrifices were performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. So the sacrifice of one or more goats, you know, this was all part of the sacrifice for Easter Day. Victorian era, vinegar Valentines could be mean and hostile in the Victorian era. Who is Cupid? It's Gemini and Sagittarius. Cupid and Valentine. So you had the big killer in France named Valentine, just to open all this up. He'd come from Italy, escaped to France and was killed in France. A mass murderer. Cupid was known to the Greeks as Eros, the handsome. So Eros and Psyche, Cupid and Valentine. Culture is a plot against the expansion of consciousness. So Jupiter is the expansion. Culture is created when Jupiter, Sagittarius, is about finding your own ideologies, your own laws. So they're bringing in the gangsters, the gypsies, the nomads, the Mad Max, and the Lara Croft girls with these Sagittarius big brothers. But it's all part of the process, because for people to get in there, you cannot become spiritual if you don't have your survival animal instincts intact. You've got to know how to rev yourself up and have engine, line, balance. Engine, line, balance. You have to have the art of war within you. Otherwise, you can't be spiritual. So, culture is a plot against the expansion of consciousness. Culture is a perversion. It fetishizes objects, creatures, consumer mania. It preaches endless forms of false happiness, endless forms of false understanding in the form of squirrely religions and silly cults. It invites people to diminish themselves and dehumanize themselves by behaving like machines. So all astrology is incorrect. We've got millions of different new age gurus, big brothers, often with young girl children or boys. Nobody bringing people back to this alchemical knowing that Lavette brought so many of us back to, and that I've been able to come to, and Lars has brilliantly given you all his images. That is where the truth is. It's just nature. It's just nature. It's just the 12 seasons. What the herd hates the most is the one who thinks differently. It is not so much the opinion itself as the audacity of wanting to think for themselves, something they do not know how to do. Schopenhauer. So on this 11/11, all fortune legs. So this is the 4 legs, the 11/11. All for one and one for all. 4 and 1, 4 and 1 is 5/5. So 55 kilometers between Alaska and Russia. And we had the G7 in Cornwall, which is 5/5 longitude, latitude 50 and 05, which is 5/5. And Cornwall is the horns of Seranus, the wild one, the fertility gods, as we saw in the Swiss tunnel being opened. We had the wild Seranus Pan gods being taken over by Taurus when it should be Capricorn in that high fertility energy. The old hag is the government, the top, and they're getting rid of the mother and the hag, and they're just using Virgo. Taurus completely masculinized. So Remembrance Day is 1111. That's Poppy Day. That's 44 days from yesterday. Or sealed with a loving kiss. P.S. I love you. You've got to stand up straight to find your 5th element, to be the upright 5-pointed star. or to incorporate the energies. You know, the evil is coming up. If you can face both sides of the coin, you can be central, you can be that middle passage, you can be that passage from above to below the diaphragm. So 11, 12, Aka 12 is 3, 11, 3, 3, 11. The cross is fixed. Are you upright or upside down? Last 45-degree angle before 4 times 4, 44 days from today to Barry Manilow. There's apparently a gun called Barry 45, Barry 44 in Resident Evil, which is something I don't even know what it is. Resident Evil Barry's 44 Magnum. That's Mary Magdalene and numb, comfortably numb. And the gun is just the G and the UN, the G spot and the UN, the diaphragm, to make the passage through the 90-degree angle of the voice. So I know all this because, of course, I find out from Uno, who did a video yesterday in the middle of all this going on. I was so busy making posts yesterday. It was so crazy. Uno. So he's done another one, my goodness. 40 days before Judgment UK, and Liz Truss resigns after 44 days in UK Parliament. So she had 44 days, but what's more interesting is the 44 days from now to the 11/11. And it will be 45, and 45 is that angle, the angle of the closing of the Milky Way. The North and South node make that UN, North-South, the magnets, the Magna Carta, the cart, her, she'll be coming round the mountain. Oh, yeah, it got blocked, so he had to put it in. So very interesting, that 44. Barry Manilow, Lola, God created woman. So, you know, this is Aldebaran, Barry, sterile, 45 days till 12/11 is 45, last 45-degree angle is triangle. It's the angles of the triangle, closed, prism, passage. So this image of Lars, you can go and see all his images on his site. Alchemical astrology, alchemy, spiritual chakra astrology, setting the stones. So we're coming up to this, we're at that absolute gap at the end of the mutable cross. So we're right at the end and the beginning of the first. So this is all happening in 44 days. 44 and 44 is the two-way Nazi swastika, right, left. That's what this eagle represents. You either rise, the Scorpio, the rising of the Phoenix, the true energy, to merge Scorpio and Libra again, Capricorn and Aquarius, or you're stuck in this UN, Milky Way, horseshoe gap. There she is, the UN, the horseshoe, the Milky Way gap in the galactic. So we've got the Silver Lake Gate, St. Louis, King Louis, the King of the Swingers in the Jungle Book, and the new Prime Minister. They had a shooting in St. Louis, 3 people killed and 7 wounded. That's 11. It's the gateway into Aquarius. It's not the symbol for Gemini, the twins. Yeah, it's just so much to tell you. So setting the stones of the 4 directions were launched in 2001, 9/11. So 3/11 is this date coming up, 11 the 12th of the 11th. So bringing down the Twin Towers in New York as the first. The stone was set in the sign of fire in Leo, close to the mutable earth of Virgo, where Mercury rules. So we got the Whore of Babylon coming on, Leo and Virgo, and Aquarius with the unconscious collective of Pisces. See, he's got the blue for the mutable, he's got the purple for the cardinal, and green sealed with a loving kiss. This Lola was closed into a plastic box. This is Pandora's box being closed, fixing us, crucifying us on the fixed cross, when this is just the beginning of the passage of Aquarius falling onto the horizon. They are doing it now with the east and the west. That's why Grenfell Towers fell, the West Way fell, Portobello, it's by Portobello. It's all on the West Way in London. And then you had on the 24th of October, Momo, the Irishman, again on this, bringing in the East Way. The lorry froze 39 Asian people. That's the end of the wheel. 39 is just 369. The line broke. The monkey got choked. Before you can enter into this knowing of Pisces, Neptune just entering Pisces is Looney Tunes. If people can't cope with the abyss. So east and west. This is the horizon is always on the east, sets in the west, and we've got Taurus on the east. This is what they want. It's Aquarius that should take the head, the equinox. So the second stone was set in 2011, 311 in Aquarius, creating radioactivity in Japan at the Fukushima nuclear plant caused by the tsunami of the mutable water of Pisces with Mercury in place. This was the stone set on the masculine axis. On the feminine axis for setting the stone, so this is the philosopher's stone. They rejected the true stone, Formholt. This is the Four Musketeers. This is Lupiac. They've got their D'Artagnan, rising the D'Artagnan, the dart in Ennion, the dart in the bullseye. On the feminine axis for setting the stones, there were any major event in 2021, 10 years after. And the 6, 11 and 22 are also in the past. This leads to the attention towards the 12, 11, 2022 on the fixed cross. So he's warning us for this date coming up. And you can go and see this on his site. You go and setting the stones. SS is the new name of the leader with Putin, the new military leader that Putin has announced. So you saw last time the Lisa Truss UN New World Order was made in Astara in Kakistan with all the world leaders there, as there was the killing of Lola, and the Lola's funeral was on the 24th, so on the same day that Momo killed 3 years later after Corona for the eclipse yesterday. The whole of France mourning Lola that I covered in my last video. Okay, so Momo, Mowgli, Amit in French. Momo's the enormous crocodile. I've been covering all this for years now. Everything is happening now. So it's all about this, bringing in the energy of this girl through Taurus on the horizon. It's the feminine axis, Taurus, Scorpio, Virgo, Pisces, and Cancer and Capricorn. October the 24th, 2019, to open Corona, Momo the Irishman, Lord of the Rings, killed 36-39 Asian people like Elsa in the film Frozen, and Eliza on the 20th of November 2019. Just after this, she was killed by 93 dogs pregnant. So the end of fertility. The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain, keeping the fake horizon. Lola is a feminine name of the Spanish meaning sorrows. It's a shortened, so the Marianne is always crying, the musketeers. These are the tears coming when the girl realizes she's all alone and she can't have children anymore. It's the new energy of the woman. It is a shortened version of the name Dolores. So apparently this is the name in some film as well. Was it Resident Evil as well? So Barry 44. Her name was Lola, which derived from a Spanish title given to the Virgin Mary, Nuestra Senora de los Dolores, which translates to Our Lady of Sorrows. So LA woman. Funeral the 24th of October and the entry of a small white coffin into the church. So this girl was just been, so there was 10 days before, but from the killing on the 14th to the funeral, and we've got the new Prime Minister just entering 10 Downing Street, say 10, which is, as I've said, the 10 signs, Pluto in the Victorian era, until now, leaving Sagittarius from Pisces to Sagittarius to get into the Twin Peaks is 10 signs. So very symbolic, the 10 days from the killing to the day that this new Prime Minister comes in, England. And this is just Mowgli. We got Mowgli, RS. So Liz had 44 days and we got 44 days until this big date, and 45 to the 12th. It's, you know, Russian roulette, we're right in it. That's Romulus and Remus, Range Rover, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel ahead. So you can read that. And these are just a few pictures there. You see the ring. That famous picture, he's with the little girl, like the Lola, just being killed, the blonde with the ring, the light bulbs, like we saw with Peter Sellers, Eastern Avenue. There she is, in the black box. And now this is the famous picture from Momo they showed us. So he's 42 years old, of course. 42 years old. And that is the arc of the rainbow and the symbol of Jupiter, arc of the rainbow, 42 images. 42, 42, 42. It's the prism. It's the prism. We're going through. And then we had the same hairstyle as the Amy Winehouse. It's always to mock Libra, who's been made into this whore of Mona Lisa, Libra on the 11/11. On the 11/11. Making Venus, making Libra into that mart as the whore of Babylon when she should merge with Scorpio. The eclipse is in Scorpio. Got his red scarf on, of course. So this is a post from 3 years ago. And I let you read that because it's bang on. I was talking, it was just after the Momo. 10 times, I was really bang on. J is 10, is X. As we see in 39 killed, X marks the spot. Babylon black, Judaism white, want to merge. So you can read that. And these pictures. 2 bulls engaged in shocking battle, both for a certain heifer's sake. Okay, the one of the big brutes, BB. I'm just sorry, I've got my tummy going. The English circular yoke, literally the yellow part from the yellow, formerly spelled as yelk, yoke. Well, I'm in a deep thinking there. English poet to yoke, joined together from yoke. So these guys just look like complete twins, merging, making the one Yoko Ono. England, Asia, the Joker, yellow and red at the top of the stairs, Jesus, Jester, Jacob, Jack, John, Jacob's Ladder, JL cut is a film cut. Should be LL, J is the Scorpio constellation. Europe as the Scorpio, JJ. They've got the JJ. Free Martins. An androgenized heifer born twin to a bull result when fetal blood mixes. Sterile females are unwanted in livestock production. The Fool. That is the M of these Free Martin. The pair of bulls of Jesus, parables, pair of bulls, Baal. 13, death, the Tudor rose. You know the image of Virgo, the high priestess. There's that 42, 42. The two snakes merging. It's the north and south node. That was the 410, P4 came out, as did the film The Joker, on the crescent moon of the triple goddesses. 369, and they show us that closed in the Harlequin, the same as we see in the Lucis Trust. The upside down pentagram. So these are just the two sides of the coin. It's your prism. We're going through this now. X is the 10, it's the J, and there's the 10. Jack Frost, this is the Frosties, the Tiger, the Jungle Book, Frozen. Showed you in all my videos the rituals of the wine, of the fields of wine when it froze. So they had to light lanterns that made the stripes of the tiger across the fields from aerial shots. It's about, you know, fire taking over the fertility. Going through that triangle. This was some horrible, I hate even posting this picture, but it's some terrible with chicken claws. They're showing in shorties, people wearing chicken claw stalks. And there's the green god, Momo, Lord of the Rings, taking over the Heart Gateway. Jack in the green London, 18th century. The four legs, the four angles. Got that 44 spin, four-wheel drive now. William Blake, the rising of the Lucis Trust. And we got to get through. 9th house is Sagittarius. Pluto is leaving into Capricorn. And you've got the merging of the sun and the moon. There's the time of the equinox. 22, the heart. 7-7, Aleister Crowley, you know. They use the triple L 7-7 phase of the moon to trap you. 4-10, 13-10, and 23-10. Between double black Momo moon. So, goodness knows what I was thinking about then. That's 3 years ago. Okay. You've just seen that. I don't need to show you. 11-11 passage through. 44 days. D-Day. Barry 4-4. Man in low. La from today. Solar eclipse. Eye of the Tiger Tiger. Moon conjunct Mars. So this is all Armistice. When's she going to get set off? Retro over bullseye. Eye of the Tiger. Eiffel Tower 2024 Paris Olympics. Pluto under rotating 4x4 wheel drive ahead. and Sun, Mercury, Venus conjunct tail, Milky Way snake on the scales of justice. Uranus conjunct head of snake in Aries, Mars retro over Aldebaran, bullseye, Barry, Baran, Barry, 44, Barry, Baron's 45, Resident Evil, her name was Lola. Right, so that was the video of Uno. Go and see it. This is the Jungle Book. Rishi Sunak is Britain's first Asian Prime Minister. Asian Tiger Tiger Jungle Book. This is all the East Indian Company. Today was the day 2 years ago that the pirate ship took over. So another thing, the same date was the 26th of October. Andromeda. This is the day of my best friend's birthday. So she was the daughter. She's the great-granddaughter of Juliet Cameron, and this all happened at the Isle of Wight. Images. 26th of October. Pirates. Pirates. I spelt it all wrong as well. Next time it could be terrorists, Royal Navy. So special forces detained 7 stowaways, 22 crews safe and well after 10-hour ordeal at sea. Andromeda, and it all happened on the Isle of Wight. So it's my best friend's birthday. Her great-great-grandmother was Juliet Cameron. She brought up my potato slave, Irish, who became the Cinderella story, who married Henry Cotton, Sir Henry Cotton, and went to live in India. And I've told you he's written the book, Indian Memories, and they really genuinely thought that they were helping the Indian people, not creating Pakistan. And all this was the beginning of the Victorian era to now. And that's my connection that I've shown you so often. She played the role of the May Queen, Mary Ryan. And in that picture, it's in the Royal Museum, the whatever it's called, National Portrait Gallery. So there she is. She was used for all the photographs, and you've got the upside down, 5-pointed upside down with an imposter. This looks like some indigenous witch doctor. Everybody looking the other way. Somebody said in that picture of the Narnia, Kate, Willie, Harry and Meghan with the car behind them, like in Back to Black, that picture I showed you, they're all looking in different directions. Only the car, Gemini, the funeral car behind them is looking straight ahead. It's all about finding the upright star, being aware of the two extremes of the coin, knowing the upside down and the upright so you can find that passage through. Go and watch my last video. And pirates, boats, hijack ship. So you remember it was a big storm. Forces retake tanker. It was all taking over. Andromeda, opposite Virgo. We've got now on Algol, the heads of the Milky Way snake, and Uranus. And that is Mars, who takes the power of Andromeda, the unconscious collective, and hands it now to Taurus. Here's Mars. He's going to give the Philosopher's Stone. They rejected the true Formerholt, Aquarius. So, you know, all are trying to remember all these things, but it's all connected. We've covered all these things. So Merline, we've got the water, it's the year of the tiger, the Asian tiger, Pi, the book, the life of Pi with the tiger and the butcher. And you remember, it's all in his imagination. in the book, he gives us his imagination, how he deals with it all. So it's all about not creating the monsters of the id. It's being conscious. I have to tell you all about it, but it, you know, we're creating our reality now. Louis marks the X spot of Texas Great Eclipses 2017-2024, Paris Olympics, St. Louis, 3 dead, 7 injured after school shooting. 3 and 7 is say 10, Downing Street, Portobello. So you've got the 3 crosses, 7 chakras. And you know the Jungle Book, I Want to Be Like You, Hoo. You've got Saturn, the Black Panther. You've got Jupiter, the tiger. You've got the big monkey. You've got the bear necessities, the Polaris, North Polaris, the bear spin. So yesterday I was surrounded in helicopters, had my internet, a tree, took down my wire. And here we go. I was on my phone. I didn't have internet, so I was trying to put this together. So he's 42 years old. On the papers, it was a look at Sunak's meteoric Metad'dOR climb to power. 42 years old is Jupiter. Jupiter is 12 years cycle. Lola was killed at 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 hours Le Mans, and 42 is 24 twice. So he's the 57th president. That's 12. Right, let's see. So we got Frosties, Tony, the toe Pisces, knee Capricorn, Jupiter in Pisces, Saturn in Capricorn, the knee, Tony merges with Capricorn, Sagittarius, Capricorn, when it should be Capricorn and Aquarius. So there's the yesterday's eclipse. So the tail of the snake is in Libra. That's why it's a partial corona, because it's not exactly. Mainstream astrology say that it's in Scorpio, and they say that the South Node is in Scorpio. So coming up to the kiss of Judas, when the South Node is in Libra, and to that 11:11, it's going to be conjunct to the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Sun taking the higher chakras, heart, minds. The life of Pi, there is the Vesica Piscis and the abyss of Pisces, the deep blue sea, the unconscious collective. He's got Mars. He's got Mars and Jupiter and Saturn conjunct. He's got the Sun all alone and Mercury all alone, exactly like we had yesterday. That picture was probably the 24th. But the Sun just separate from Mercury, and Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Exactly that hands. It's the eclipse. Looks like the tiger, white, orange and black. And Mowgli and King Louis, the children shot and killed exactly where we have the silver gate. Taurus represents the tip of the silver gate. I showed you the arc at St. Louis, the arc, the silver gateway. 2 killed in St. Louis High School, but that was, then it became 3. So you get it. I mean, and this is the triangle, the summer triangle. We saw in the last video how the 2 triangles of the summer and the winter. So this is Sagittarius, and they are now going to become placed in Taurus and Scorpio as we make this gap between the galactic gap from the mutable to the fixed cross, as we saw on setting the stone. So you see Taurus, that gap between Taurus and Gemini, Sagittarius and Scorpio. That is that masculine axis taking the feminine, and here as well taking the feminine. And that we saw as Lola was closed into a box. And then in her funeral box 10 days later. It's just the Pink Floyd, Pink Panther passage. There's the wolf of Lupercalia. Eye of the Tiger. This was the film Rocky III, showing those two angles of the, this is the top of the torso is Gemini, the lungs, Cancer, the breasts, and Gemini, the arms. It's a Rocky Horror Show. So here we've got the new Prime Minister. Got door number 12 here. And this is the true passage of her. Okay. So don't forget Corona and Victor. And now we're going to Cupid and Valentines. CV is 322. So we're doing this flip-flop from VC, CV to VC, Cruella de Vil, coronavirus, Corona and Victor, Corona Lola, LL77 Eclipse tomorrow. So that's where you just saw the LL, the two arms of Rocky. It's fallen to your knees, toe to knee, taking over the toe to the knee area, which is the 10th, 11th, 12th, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. We're entering that area, and not many people can cope with that area if they don't activate their own top of the chart heads to last door out. Pisces, Mary Magdalene, Jesus axis, Sun, Moon, Venus, conjunct on. So you know all that. Betty Blue, B22, Moon, you know all that, you know all that. You can read it. So what else do I need to show you? This is incredible. The sun rising in between the gateway and my garden. And so, yeah, this is a little video I made about, again, the labyrinth in my village. The labyrinth is where the equinox solstice meet, the four corners, joining, closing, opening of her vulva. There are places on earth where the X marks the spot. En on, hate on, yon. It's like Aintree, Liverpool, Poot in, the whole horizon, Elizabeth. So we had the Elizabeth line, Liz Truss, 44 days. And we get to the vulva of her rose now for this passage. Metad'dOR, Meteor. So this was before this guy was pronounced Prime Minister as the new Meteor, Metad'dOR, which is just the new equinox, is the Wanda right here, still hovering just, and for 2025, the sun will be fully on the fixed cross. So that's why 25 is so symbolic as well. It's the 7 and the 10, making the 7 chakras owned by the say 10. When, you know, that's Capricorn. You've got to enter into your self-authority, Capricorn. Bow tie line is the that's why they always wear bow ties. Is the passage of the changing of the guards. It's also the bow of the archer, Sagittarius. Incy Wincy, I put Incy Windy, that's funny. Spider, Ishtar, Easter. Every 8 years, Venus makes a 5-petaled flower. The 5-pointed star is flipped from morning to night. That's why 8 bulls are killed in our village every Easter Ishtar day. To birth the bull god Api. You know, my dog was killed, Api, on that day. Planet of the Apps, Abs. The red steeple is the mosque, musketeer, tear, the cherry on the ice cream, the bullseye, the breast tit of Venus. So I won't put the sound up, but I'm just showing they've redone the road that was dug up for the 322. They brought out all the skull and bones, and they just happened to have the legs of a 14-year-old girl without the body. I mean, I don't know if it's consciously done or it's unconsciously done, and now they've rebuilt the narrow passage, completely redone the road after having exposed for all that period of the equinox last year the skulls and the bones just there for everybody to see in the village. And now I'm showing you the Incy Wincy spider drain pipe and the labyrinth right on that Incy Wincy spider. So I think I get to show you there. There it is. This is Incy Wincy spider's drain. Incy Wincy spider climbing up the spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sunshine, dried the rain away. Incy Wincy spider climbed the spout again, and then we got the labyrinth on the drain pipe and this beautiful chirp. So yeah, you get the gist. I've done whole videos about all this. I've been joining all these dots for you for a long time, and it's all happening. So the dart in Enyon, N on, it's Cupid and Valentine, hate and love. So yeah, this our village is in a direct line to the North Polaris, and it is in the point, the shape of the 5-pointed star. Enyon, commune in France. So there's the 5-pointed star. And the steeple. Right, let's carry on. Let's see if we can make this just an hour video. What else has happened since? This is interesting. Somebody pointed this picture showing in Michigan this triangle. And I'm just saying, this is when the east-west meet the north-south as the doors open and shut. It's a state of mind representing the gun. The Bermuda Triangle, but few people have heard about the Lake Michigan Triangle. So you see there's the two. It's going to be the east and the west. Okay. I got the book, Rebecca's World, that I mentioned last time, and just blow my mind. So it's all about her going off into the Blue Star, Spiker, meeting the three men, Grisby, the green man, Kovac, the red Mars, and the spy. So they have to, there's Mr. Grisby, who has turned the world into a glass cities, and he's cut down every single tree, that's meaning fertility. And Captain K has got a little piece of wood, which is the only protection from the ghosts which have come in because there's no more trees. So they're afraid of the woods. Don't forget that 1968, the year that Pluto went into Virgo, was the year of the wood monkeys, the moon key. So the 1968 girls, my generation, we are the wood key, the moon key, the end of the fertility. He's called Nation, Terry Nation, which is the République. It was in Nation in France, where the French Revolution took place. Preparing, so you can read that. So, you know, this represents the fiberglass, the new optic fiber, internet, everything to bring in this, you know, virtual reality. And in the end, the last tree is cut down, but she has this idea to the seeds, to planting seeds to a new earth, and that's the role of the Pluto girls. So will they find their fertility again? These are pictures that have been seen. So very much this Mart rising, Isis rising, the red, putting Scorpio. Scorpio's the sexual organs at the head, changing the east and the west. This is on the 11-11. So, you know, it's an inside job. You're either Libra is the all-seeing eye, or it's the kidneys, with Scorpio, the sexual organs, and Mars is the head, and Taurus is being given that head on the east. The West Way was taken down when it's Aquarius falling onto the horizon. This is to become the east, and the west is actually the vertical line, but it's just the horseshoe closing, so it becomes one. There's a moment where that passage is opened. So, of course, there was a beetle. We're going from fuel, from petrol, gas, to Beetlejuice. The four corners of the brain, to rise the one, the beetle, or you remain a dung beetle. And Scorpio has also got those claws, as Cancer has those claws. The beetle, it's the closing of the Milky Way. Yeah, the lotus flower is that Scorpio opening. So that is an old post, 369 from 2019. Just, you know, how in our faces, 369. The goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line, the line broke, the monkey got choked, and they all went to heaven in a little rowing boat. That's your Nick, Nike, the pick, Nike, the peak, putting Nike, Nick at the top of the mountain of Capricorn, Jupiter taking Capricorn. Orange is the new black, so Armistice is going up as orange. James and the giant peach. James is just like Pip and the older girl. He had to face his two crazy aunts. Jungle Book. So this is exactly where we are. King Louis, orange, the Godfather, Islam, orange, black. And they've got orange in the middle here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is atom. Actually, we've got down here 12, 13. We've got the beetle. So it's the Anki. So that horizon line is the gap through, or it's the bow tie closed in the 8 of the 369. Got to get your own crown. Interesting. Venus at the top with Saturn. So Venus is considered domicile in Taurus, and Lars has been saying, you know, Venus in Aquarius as is to have that thinking for the all, the humanitarian. Venus in Taurus is meant to be considered love, but she's very material. So as the wheel closes, Saturn can take that energy of Venus and Libra and Taurus on the horizon. Yeah. It's the two birds. Mercury. That's the Pakistan. It's the Sirius, the keeper of the four corners, the Persians. So this is exactly, I mean, it's everything we've covered. Everything we've covered, it's happening now. 2 years ago, on the 22nd of October, they had France walking around saying, Je suis Samuel. And I can't remember what it was. It was just the word Samuel. Represents both judgment and the inner voice. He is the wisdom and the judgment that come often as a still small voice at the heart center. It is deep within the stillness of the silence that our ears first become attuned to the rhythmic motions of spirit, and that we are first enabled to catch the sound of the inner voice. Man makes connection with Jehovah by building up a consciousness of divine ideas. This is accomplished through thought, prayer, meditation, and realization. Receptivity to spirit and obedience, fearlessness, and candor are essentials to the inviting of communion with the inner voice. Hannah, mother of Samuel, earnestly petitioned God for a son. She made regular trips to the temple where she made known her desire. She listened attentively for the inner leadings which showed her just what to do, that she might comply with the law and have her prayers answered. This earnest seeking led her deep into the things of spirit. Therefore, when her prayers were fulfilled, the child that she bore possessed the faculty of spiritual hearing. Samuel was first conceived in spirit, and by the sure law of spirit, the outer manifestation came into visibility. So I can't remember what that was about. You can look it up, but it's bringing up La Marianne and, you know, play it again, Sam. So that was 2 years ago. It'll be something interesting. This is from 1 year ago. Remember your last body member. So I was just picking up, you know, this is D'Artagnan, the older man, the younger girl, same girl who played in Leon, Natalie Portman, Black Swan, White Swan. You know all about that. You know all about that. That's an old post. An old post from 2018. Jonna being swallowed by the whale. And I think we're back. That's great. To the last video I did last week. Fantastic. Barry Manilow. So this is just about that very important 44 days of Liz Truss, Lucy's Trust for the eclipse, the passageway through. We've got another 44 days until the 1111, and there goes my telephone. Okay, well, yeah, it's just the 244 on each side of this passage through, and just the enormity of living out the Jungle Book is just, I just can't believe. And, you know, this is all the East Indian Company coming, and this merging of the two extremes of the Latin and Anglo-Saxon energy, the Greek and the Roman, the NRG. And, you know, you get through the G spot or the J for Joker. You've got to integrate the Scorpio energy, that fertility, that rising of being conscious of the two sides of the coin. Okay, darlings, I'll leave it at that. See you again soon. Bye for now.